So taking control of the keys is doing what the CA vendors have traditionally been doing for you. It requires relationships to be established both commercially and technically with all of the vendors that are dependent on your keys. A key in a box is one thing, but actually it enables different security features provided by different vendors to be powered by your root key. Having the relationships in place to inject a key securely into a chip, for example, requires a technical integration with the chip manufacturing line, where the keys that you provide on behalf of the operator are securely embedded and protected so that they cannot be compromised by anyone that has access to that facility. Similarly, delivering key material to a set-top box manufacturer requires that you have in place both a commercial framework with that vendor as well as a technical framework to deliver the keys, make sure that they are received in order and can be programmed into a set-top box and validated and tested. So relationships, again, commercially and technically with each of these vendors is essential to be able to make use of the keys that you own. They touch all of the vendors that have a dependency on those keys, and you must be able to support each and every one of those. So with the chip vendor, there are, for example, very highly confidential pieces of information that need to be exchanged. So establishing a commercial agreement and the NDAs associated with that can easily take 3 to 6 months. The technical integration is an equally difficult challenge. There is, for example, the need for a black box to ensure secure programming of your keys, going back and forth with the vendor, establishing exactly what the respective needs are of both the key owner and the programmer. We have seen examples where 6 months is required at the minimum, and for every new chip there are further modifications required. So the starting point of having to do what a CA vendor has been doing for you means that you have to re-establish all of these relationships and go through the lengthy timelines that are associated with that to bring these vendors on board. So generating keys is not something you do on a laptop. You need dedicated facilities to ensure that the keys that you generate are not compromised, are not accessible to pirates, for example. Equally, you need to use the right equipment to ensure that the keys are of the right quality. So establishing an infrastructure to securely generate keys means a facility that is got the correct physical procedures, processes in place to ensure that keys cannot be accessed by people that don't have access to it. Having the hardware to be able to securely process keys in large volumes as the quantity of chips it can increase quite rapidly as set-top boxes are being manufactured in bulk. And all of that needs to be established and requires a lot of security expertise. Again, CA vendors have traditionally been doing this both in the domain of set-top boxes and chips as well as in the domain of smart cards. And replicating that, building a dedicated facility is a very costly and time-consuming exercise. Having the infrastructure, having the relationships, you now have the choice to work with the partners you want. What you do not have without some additional work is the future flexibility that you're looking for, bringing new services on board. Generating a key doesn't stop when you generate it and put it into a chip. In order to have the future flexibility, you must manage the key and everything that goes with it for the life cycle of that key and the device. For example, if you want to bring a new flavor of DRM into a box that's already deployed, you must be able to reach out and perhaps establish a new relationship with the DRM vendor and retroactively go back to the keys that you have generated and renew the key material in the set-top boxes that are already out in the field. So what you really need to do is not generate a key and look after it. You have to manage it over the lifetime of that key. It starts with the generation, with the provisioning into the devices, with the renewal or extension in order to support future business needs, and eventually, potentially, with the revocation of certain keys for compromised devices.